Hello. I started early today. I usually start late, so I figured, you know what? This time, this time I'll be early. How y'all doing? Uh, yeah. So, I think I'm alone today. I think I'm alone. Oh, Gig's here, kind of. Yes,
I'm not gonna be much help today.
that's okay.
I missed the entire day.
Yeah, I'm not totally up to date either on today. Um, really, the only change that I saw today was in
Hello, can you hear me?
Avdiivka.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not gonna be of much help today
the Russians have
because
progressed
I missed
in the
basically
city,
the entire day.
basically. Well, not the cities, but the residential area. Other than that, I didn't see any significant changes. Well, today, anyway. But anyways, how are you doing, Gik? Okay. That's fun. Okay. Okay.
I'm very sorry. I just got my pizza,
Well,
and I
I
just took the
have
first bite when you were asking.
um
So
I've done more
right now
work
I'm doing horrible
preparing for
because
the
I was
stream
driving
than usual in
for
that
the last 8 hours or
I've prepared
something.
something.
And I'm so hungry.
The
Ask me
something
again
is
in
not
5 minutes
very
once
complicated.
that pizza is gone. Then that will be great.
But I did I have the map from May, basically. Um so I have the map in May. There are some visual glitches that we haven't fixed in the map. Because we just I mean, there's no time to look backward, you know what I mean? There's you only go forward. Time is time only moves in one direction. So anyways, we haven't fixed these glitches. So we're gonna have to live with those for a second. But I decided to bring up the map from May to compare it to today. Um, because I feel like people are really exaggerating how little the map has changed. Because like in one sense, the map has not changed that much, but in another sense, it actually has. And I feel like people are not respecting the changes. So I currently have the map in so this topographic map, which is white, this is the current map, and the other one, which is like the satellite map, which is the darker one. This is May. So I'm gonna zoom in on Bakhmut in today. Where am I? Here's Bakhmut. So the reason I picked May is because this was really well, not really. I guess not totally. I guess I can move forward a little bit. I didn't pick a good day. Let me go forward. Anyway, I wanted to pick around this time because this was kind of the peak of the Russian control. The reason why is because in the first weeks of May, Ukraine started their counterattack to the south of Bakhmut, and this counterattack was actually pretty successful pretty quickly, and Russia lost a lot of ground in the south before they even captured Bakhmut. So that's kind of why I picked the beginning of May. But of course, they haven't actually captured Bakhmut yet. It took a few more weeks to get Bakhmut. But I do kind of want to show the full extent of the Russian power in the south. Um, so they had crossed this canal. They were pushing towards Stupochki, and they were also trying to get go move north through these woods. They had actually even gotten further north into kind of this area of this forest near Ivanivska. And they had also gotten pretty close to Ivanivska as well. Um, so I guess this isn't even the full extent of their go in the south. But anyway, the point is to compare what this was like to the current Klashivka situation, where Ukraine has obviously completely taken control over the canal, pushed Russia all the way back to Klashivka, and Ukraine also captured Klashivka, which they may lose, but the big difference than Russia being like over here, over there. So multi-kilometer difference here. So this is one change that I feel like people are not respecting. It's like a 5 kilometer difference that Ukraine managed to push Russia back, and these 5 kilometers were really difficult for Ukraine to do. Like this was a legitimate achievement that Russia fought against every step of the way. They were very upset that this was even possible. Um, so that's one thing. Obviously, you have to go further forward in time to get to the point where Russia actually captured Bakhmut. But that's kind of outside the point at the moment. I do want to focus on Avdiivka, because we know like Russia captured Bakhmut, big whoop. Okay, so like we want to focus on Avdiivka, which is kind of the current, where Russia is advancing currently. People are acting like Russia has never taken this area before, which is not true. It's just not true. Russia got really close to capturing Kromova, although they never did until recently. But in their initial attack on Bakhmut, they never got Kromova. They never got Avdiivka either, but they did get very, very close. Roughly where they are now is where they were before. So if we compare it now, it's roughly the same. You could easily argue that Russia has taken this forest strip up here, so it is more or less the same on the north. So these attacks over, with the exception of Kromova, which Russia now controls. So these attacks in the north have more or less brought Russia back to where they were in May. More or less undid Ukraine's entire summer offensive north of Bakhmut. Their summer offensive north of Bakhmut pretty much ended, I don't know, in July or so. I can't remember. Do you remember the date? I can't remember.
Pretty early, I think it was July, because once they basically reached the Bakhmut reservoir, they got
Yeah.
back. I think that's when it stopped.
Yeah, there was a point where Ukraine wanted to capture Berhivka. Um, they assaulted the town. They took half of the town.
It was pretty early. I think it was July. Yeah,
Russia
because
reinforced
once
the
they
town.
basically reached the
Ukraine
Bakhmut
basically
reservoir
realized that
and
they
they got
didn't
beaten
have the
back, I think
forces
that's
to
when
take
it
it, and they
stopped, more
pulled
or
out.
less.
Ukraine had abandoned their attempt to capture the town before we even knew that they had taken half of the town, which was interesting. Yeah, so Ukraine, they wanted the town, they went for it, they got in it, they took half of it, gave up, and left. That's basically what happened. And then ever since then, they've been slowly retreating backwards. Um, so that's one thing. Now, to the north of Bakhmut, I can't actually remember the timeline in this kind of northern part. I do know they got pretty close to Minkivka, but I can't remember when that was. I guess it was earlier. Let's see. Let's play around with the clock and see what happens. Because we already see Ukraine pushing them back in May, so maybe their furthest extent was much earlier than that. I can't actually remember. Just gonna keep clicking the backwards button until we get there. Uh, anyways, Well, maybe this is the further. I remember them going further than this though. Whatever. I'll just call that. So that's pretty much this is interesting. Uh yeah. So I'm going to skip to kind of June, I guess. I can't remember. Do you remember what day they captured Bakhmut? Because I definitely don't.
Actually, I thought it was in May still. Well, okay, there was always that argument about the southern part, about the Dutchess.
Oh. People are saying I'm confused.
Actually, I thought it was in May still. Well, okay, there
Confused.
was always that argument about the southern part there, about the Dutchess.
Here. I'm getting complaints about the stream. So I'm gonna open the stream on my own in YouTube and just listen to it and see what happens. Okay. Give me a second here. I hate the new YouTube, by the way. They changed the UI, so I have no clue where to ever look for anything. That is bizarre. Oh, Gick, can you talk for me?
But my mouth is still full with so I'm very sorry that you have to
Well, that's fine.
you wanted me to talk.
Yeah, because there's a technical problem, and I'm confused.
Sure, but my
This is
mouth is
bizarre.
still full with
Like,
pizza.
it's genuinely
so I'm very
bizarre.
sorry that you have
Because
to
everything
listen to that,
is functional.
but you wanted me to talk.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I feel the pain. I feel the pain of the listener, but I don't. There's nothing wrong, though. That's the confusing part. Huh. Give me. I'm pondering. I'm pondering. Um. Yeah. No, because okay. So I want to explain. Okay, because Gick doesn't know what's happening, and the listeners also don't know what's happening. So I will be the bridge. Okay. So what the listeners hear is they can't hear Gick really. And the problem isn't Gick. Gick is fine. Gick is totally fine. The problem isn't the software either, because the software is recording correctly and it's streaming correct. I like genuinely don't understand. Um, Here, Gick, can you talk to me for a second?
I
Yeah.
just don't know.
Okay, that's enough. Here. This is like live troubleshooting here. I'm sorry. Like I genuinely this is very confusing.
You got any idea what to change?
No, I recorded you speaking, and I want to see if I can hear you in the recording.
Sure. I just don't know what to say.
By the way, it was very nice of you to say that I'm not.
You're not the problem.
Yeah, that's what my mother.
So you got any idea what to change?
Yeah, I can't hear you in the recording either. It's bizarre.
All right.
It's really weird.
By the way, it was very nice of
try
you to say
something.
that I'm not the problem. Yeah, that's what my mother always tells me.
I've definitely made it worse. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart Discord. Yeah, because yeah, I figured out why they can't hear Gik. Uh, so the reason why is because it wasn't capturing correctly for some reason. Um, and you could only hear him through my headphones, basically. Uh, okay, Gik, can you talk?
Yeah, sorry. Very bad.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
That's fine. That's fine. I think I fixed it, but I need to check. It's not fixed. I'm so confused.
maybe you just go on since I'm not.
Okay, yeah, I'll just go on Gikless. It's not a bandwidth issue. It's a plugin problem. It's really annoying. This plugin really annoys me. Anyways, I'll just go on. Um, yeah. So to everyone else, Gik was speaking loud and clear. He really was. It was perfect. You just can't hear him. Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna move on. So, okay. I'm trying to get to the point where they captured Bakhmut. Okay, so Russia captured Bakhmut around this time. So let's look around at the rest of the front line. This is a May 21st. This is around the time Russia finally captured Bakhmut. So let's compare Kremena to now. Let's compare Kremena to now. Um, I don't think we're going to see much difference. So here's Kremena now versus Kremena then. I mean, this is at different zoom levels, so that's probably going to fix. Okay, so the difference is there's like basically no difference. There was a point where Ukraine had been geolocated up in this area up here. And that was very confusing. And then it went back to normal like a few days later. I remember that. It was a weird geolocation. So ignore that. But basically everything else is more or less the same. Now if we go on up towards Svatova, okay, so we can compare the two. Um, Probably not going to be much change, honestly. So Svatova, Ukraine controlled Novoselivsk. He's loud on the replay talking over me. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Anyways, I think this whole experiment of comparing the maps is a waste of time. What do you think, Gik? They can't hear you, so you may as well just say whatever you think.
Just go on.
Okay. Maybe I should put them side by side. I can't though, because it's really obnoxious. Um, I could actually, but it would be really obnoxious. Whatever. Um, so Ukraine controlled Novoselivska. They controlled everything along this rail all the way on up to Kislivka. Okay, so then we can compare it to today. Ukraine does not control Novoselivska anymore. They've lost most of the area around the railway up to Kislivka. But Kislivka is still in their control, which is cool. The area south of Novoselivska is more or less the same, all the way down towards Novoyeherivka, which I'm sure is probably different. Although, to be fair, actually, it's probably not that different. But to be fair, back then, I had no clue how to map this area because there was no information from here. So this area is actually oddly similar, but I don't think that says much because this basically between Makivka, like north of Makivka and south of Novoselivska, like this whole area, I had no clue how to map because there was never any video or information or anything in that whole area. So that just kind of ignore that area. And then we get north towards Sinkivka, where Ukraine controlled Masyutivka. They had some outposts in Hrenikivka, and they controlled Sinkivka. And then if you compare it to now, they've basically lost Masyutivka. They've abandoned Hrenikivka, although Russia was never able to capture it. And now Sinkivka is under direct assault. So this is kind of one of the bigger changes, is Sinkivka being under direct assault. Everything else is more or less the same though, although other than Massive, I can't remember that town. Can't say it anymore. But anyways, this town it's irrelevant. It was like one house, not even, with a population of 0 people. So who cares? So that's all that part. Now let's compare Avdiivka. So this is the current Avdiivka. Let's go to the old Avdiivka. So this is Avdiivka in May, around the time Bakhmut fell. You can see that Krasnohorivka was just captured. Russia had just pushed up to this railway, and they were trying to move towards Stepova. Opitna had been captured a while now. Vodiana had been captured. Pervomaiska has been under attack. Nivelska is under direct assault occasionally. So this is the Avdiivka area. Now let's compare it to today. Okay, so today, obviously, Russia has pushed way west of Krasnohorivka. They've entered Stepova, and they've pretty much captured this whole section of rail, and they are trying to attack north of Stepova. So Stepova is now currently under attack from the east. They're being attacked from the southeast and the northeast. They've also moved into these kind of northern dacha areas of Avdiivka. They have taken this water treatment plant, whereas back then this whole area was pretty much completely under Ukrainian control in May. Now, the southern part of Avdiivka, let's compare this. This has been a massive change, especially today. Russia has taken control of this entire industrial area, and they're entering this residential area. So comparing the two is a pretty significant difference. Other than that, not super different. Pervomaiska has had honestly shockingly few changes over the time. Considering the amount of heavy, intense fighting in this area, to have so few changes is actually remarkable. So that's kind of the Avdiivka area. Moving on down to Marinka. Last year in May, this is actually kind of funny. This is actually pretty amusing because this just keep in mind that Marinka has been like one of Russia's primary offensive areas the entire year straight, like constantly every single day attacking. And in that time period, they've gone from this block right here, this block, to there. That's been their progress. Yeah, it's, man. I don't know. Like, is it wrong to laugh at? I don't know. I mean, I guess in a sense, it's significant progress.
Measured in brigades, probably.
Yeah. But Jesus, it's just this is the current map of Marinka. They've captured this southern part of Marinka, and they're about to capture this northern part. Keep in mind that Marinka goes to the edge of this pond, so everything on the shore of this pond is Marinka. So Russia is very, very close to capturing the city. Okay, so we'll go south. Oh shoot, Google didn't save my output. They didn't save it. Anyway, whatever. So in May of last year, Ukraine did an offensive south of Novomykolaivka. They captured some of these fortifications that actually became the primary fortifications of the town, which is interesting to think about. But they had pushed down. They had gotten close to Saladka. Russia's main attacks were coming from the east. Now today, Novomykolaivka, we can compare. This is supposed to be yellow. So Russia has taken back those primary fortifications south of the town, and they are now attacking the town from the east. Make it yellow again. To the north of Novomykolaivka, Russia has advanced pretty significantly. This whole area east of Pobieda is pretty much collapsing. I think Ukraine more or less just withdrew, to be honest. I think that's kind of what happened. We had this video yesterday, which was actually a very sad video to watch. These two Ukrainians were trying to fall back, and I think I don't really understand what was going on. I think they were confused about whether they should be abandoning their position or where they're supposed to go. They looked very confused in the way they were moving around, but they grouped up together. Like each of them individually was very confused. They got together and they're like, okay, we know what to do now. Let's go. They started running across this field, but they started getting shelled. They took cover. The cover protected them from some shelling until, they jumped in a crater to avoid getting shelled. The crater protected them from some shells until a shell landed inside the crater. I think one of them died instantly. The other one went over to try to help him, realized he was dead, and then I think he died too. So that happened right here. And as this was happening, there were Russian infantry in this forest line, or this tree line, shooting at them. So yeah, that video more or less showed that Russia had captured these positions. In addition, Russia assaulted this position here, which is I guess go to the other map, just show what it is. This is like, I don't know, like a water retention thing. I don't know, some geeky farm nerd stuff. But Ukraine was using it as a defensive position. Russia assaulted and captured it, basically. So Russia captured this position, they captured here, and they've basically taken control over this whole line. They are moving south towards Novomykolaivka. So yeah, it really annoys me that Google didn't draw that yellow, but yeah, this whole area is more or less collapsing. I think Ukraine wants to control Novomykolaivka. I'm not sure how long they'll be able to. I think they're trying to like pretty much make a defensive line like here, maybe, or maybe like this. But either way, this kind of bulge that went out to the east, I think Ukraine is going to abandon it if they haven't already. So yeah, let's compare more of the line to last year. Compare more. Let's compare the Vuladar area, because I don't think anything's changed, honestly. Yeah, like nothing. Like no changes here. Let's move on to somewhere that's had enormous change. Obviously, the Velika Novosilka area. You don't even really need to call it that anymore, because Velika Novosilka isn't even a frontline town. It's now way behind the front line because Ukraine did a huge offensive here, and they captured a whole bunch of ground. We just think about it. The line used to be up here, now it's down here. It really annoys me. It really annoys me that people keep saying that the Ukrainian offensive captured no ground. People I think people genuinely believe that. Okay, yes, the offensive failed. Also, I think the offensive was stupid. Also, I think they did the offensive in the worst place possible. But to say they didn't capture anything is just objectively stupid. It's just wrong. It's just factually, objectively wrong. Okay, so they captured significant ground here. Very significant amounts. Look at all these towns used to be frontline towns. Novosilka, Zlenipole, Novopil. These were all frontline towns. Temirivka, this was a frontline town. They're nowhere near the front line anymore. Okay, these are Rivnopil. This wasn't even a frontline town. This was Russia's third line of defense, and now it's Ukrainian controlled. Okay, so huge advances. This is obviously one of the two primary successful positions of the one of the three successes of the Ukrainian offensive. The other two are obviously Klishivka and Rabatina. So this is one of the three. Now we'll move on to Rabatina. Let's compare Rabatina now. Why did it? It's really annoying me as Google made all these errors today. Oh, this is an error from a year ago, so whatever. Anyway, okay, so Russia's front line was pretty close to Novodanilivka. They occasionally assaulted Novodanilivka. They had forces in Nasteryanka that could attack Novoandriivka on occasion. They had forces that were regularly assaulting Malotokmachka. So this front line has obviously very dramatically shifted. Okay. I don't think I really need to explain this much. How many words do I need to use to talk about this part? I don't think I need to even explain it. Just look at the map. It's much different now. I will say that over the past few days, Russia is squeezing Rabatina. They're attacking from the west. They've taken this ground back here. They are also attacking from the east. They have moved into these forest strips. I don't know whether they actually control them yet. It's possible they do, to be honest. It's possible that they've captured this entire forest strip here, and they have forces at this intersection. I don't know. What do you... I wish I could ask you. I don't know if they can even hear you. Oh, what do you think of the forces here? In these, you saw these videos yesterday, right? So, what do you think of these attacks? Do you think they've actually captured these places, or do you think it's just like recon? I think Ukraine captured them. I think they did. They had a lot of forces there. There were a lot of forces.
I mean, even, you know, I mean, the drone drop happened. It's like easily.
Yeah.
So, even, you know, considering that Ukraine was there ever, even if it's just reckoning it, I mean that Ukraine isn't there anymore, so that also means something. But the interesting part is that the responsibility here should be 15th Brigade, which is a defense brigade. So.
Yeah. I think their main line of defense is this tree line. And I think this was their front line of defense. Now, typically the way Ukraine defends is that their front line, if your front line gets assaulted by something more substantial than like a recon or something, you are supposed to withdraw. That's like typically how the front line works. You withdraw to a second line, and if Russia captures your front line, you then counterattack to push them back out. And if they attack your second line is your primary line of defense. Your third line is like your reserves and stuff. So that's typically how you defend. I think this tree line was their front line, and I think this tree line is their primary line, and I think this tree line is their third line. I think that's what it is. And we've seen a whole bunch of super heavy shelling here, like really, really heavy grad shelling. I think there's also been some helicopter attacks and airstrikes. Yeah, whose idea was it to make Rabatana their primary axis of attack? I don't know. I would love to know that. I would love to sit down and talk to whoever thought that was a good idea. I want to know what their thinking was, because to me, it was probably the worst idea Ukraine could have possibly done. Like I personally put it on par with like if Ukraine like declared war on Poland and attacked them with their offensive. Like I think it's about that stupid. Like it's unimaginable to me that Ukraine did this. Like I can't believe it. I still can't believe it even happened. Like I think it's like a weird dream still. Where should the offensive taken place? They shouldn't have done one. That's the thing. So here's the thing. Defense. You do defense not to defend things. You do defense to have a successful offense. That's the point of defense. Defense is supposed to lead into offense. If you so that Ukraine was not in a position where they could successfully attack anywhere, really in any substantial amount. You know, like their most successful attack was Klashivka. And that's fine. Like Ukraine could do that. That's fine. Like that's fine to me. I wish they did what they did in Klashivka. I wish they did that in Krasnohorivka as well. Probably both. It would have been great to do both. In my mind, if I were like a general, that's what I would have done. I would have like recaptured Klashivka because it's your anchor south of Bakhmut. It's a very good defensive position. And then try to recapture Krasnohorivka because it's your anchor of Avdiivka. And then you could just call that a summer. Just be happy with that. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Because Ukraine is not ready to attack. They can't. You should not attack unless you know you can win. That's the thing. It's like, if you're attacking because your goal is, but what if magic happens and we win by default? It's like, what if as we're assaulting, an asteroid hits their line and blows it up? It's like, you're not supposed to plan like that. You're not supposed to gamble. It's crazy. It's lunacy. You're supposed to plan a war believing that your opponent is as smart or smarter than you are. and as prepared, if not more prepared than you are. You're not supposed to assume that they're stupid. Because when you assume they're stupid, you do things like charge into Rabatna. And I think this idea that Ukraine had pressure from the West is completely absurd. It's absurd. I mean, I don't care how much pressure they had. It doesn't matter. Those countries aren't the ones fighting the war. It doesn't, like, they can give all the pressure they want. I mean, think of it this way. Think of it this way. And this is kind of my point today. This is getting into the theme I wanted to talk about. What's a better situation? What's better? Doing an offensive that has a very low chance of succeeding and using all of your resources in it. Or the other option is not doing that, taking all of the resources you have and using them to win the war. Like, what's the better choice? Like, okay, maybe if Ukraine promised to do an offensive and got all of these resources in order to do an offensive, and then they didn't do the offensive, maybe all the countries would feel slighted. They'd be like, how dare you? We gave you our 3 tanks from Portugal, and you didn't even attack anything with our 3 tanks. How dare you? I'm offended. Wait, is that what Portugal's going to tell you? Okay, our 3 tanks, or like, you know, we gave you 100,000 artillery rounds, and you didn't even use them to shoot trees. Okay, is that what countries? I don't think. First off, I don't think countries think that way. I think countries are a little smarter than that. But even if they're not, who cares? Because Ukraine was never promised more resources. They were given resources with no promise of getting anything in addition. So maybe you should act like those are the only resources you will ever get. Honestly, I was hoping that Ukraine would promise an offensive and then just never do it. Because I think that would have been the best outcome. To keep hyping it. Just hype it, and then just not do it. It's fine. There's nothing like people act like that's like, oh, you can't do that. The West would be they would be upset. We gave you our 15 tanks and you didn't even assault a tree with it. So here's a question. Russia is attacking everywhere due to Ukraine's ammo shortage. This is true. Could it mean that a Russian offensive could culminate quickly? I think so, yeah. And I think this is why the West should be supplying ammo. I mean, the West has ammo. The West has the ammo. And they're producing lots of ammo. And there's this idea that, you know, if we give too much ammo too quickly, we could dwindle our stocks or whatever. I think that's bogus, personally. But like, isn't this like the time to do it? Wouldn't, like, if you were the West, like if you were the collective West to manifest, okay, wouldn't you want Russia to culminate as quickly as possible? Like, wouldn't you want that? I do. And I don't think it would even take that much ammo to do it, which is sad. I think it would take between 500 and 800,000 shells, which we could give at the snap of the fingers if we wanted to. Okay, so I will zoom out and we can compare these lines. So this is May. and we can compare it to now. I'll turn off the little dots to make it easier. Okay, so this is May to now. This is zoomed out pretty far, I think. Unfortunately, I can't like line up the maps like perfectly or whatever. But there, this is the difference between the two. They're at different zooms. Here, is this better? Yeah, it's better. You can see the difference. I'll just like go between the two for a second. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk more about the news now. I have touched on the news while doing that. Maybe that was a waste of time. Maybe it was stupid. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, the technical problems probably didn't help. But here are some points. Russia is tightening the noose around Novomykolivka. It's getting kind of ugly, to be honest. They're getting closer to Pobieda. As I said, I think Ukraine is mostly, whether willingly or unwillingly, they're withdrawing from this kind of little bulgy salient type thing here. I expect this to be abandoned real quick, even though it's an absolutely fantastic defensive position. I think Ukraine's going to have to abandon that, which is frustrating. It's frustrating having to lose so many defensive positions that are so fantastic because of not having ammo. We've already talked about Marinka. We've already talked about Avdiivka. Russia is moving forward in this. They're moving forward in this residential area. They've have infantry fighting in these houses. They have infantry moving through these woods. Not great. The north seems more or less stable. This video here, if you care to watch it, it's just basically a drone flying around showing all Russian. Oh, I do kind of want to talk about this. So in this mountain, this little hill here, the other day, Zelensky posted a video where he showed that Ukraine had captured this hill with its little Ukrainian flag, and I went back last night through some footage. It took me just a few seconds because this was pretty easy, and I found that this video that I had. We had geolocated back when this happened on November 19th, and I don't know if you agree with me, but I'm pretty sure this right here is the Ukrainian flag. I think it's the flag. I'm almost certain. I tweeted about this last night, and I took it down because there's kind of like a rule where it's like, whenever you tweet something past your bedtime, it's probably a bad idea. So I deleted it because it was past my bedtime. But that Zelensky published, the flag was actually right there, not right here, which is, I don't know, like a 50-meter difference. But this drone attack is actually attacking infantry. And it is possible that they put the flag there, and then they were in the trenches, and then they moved the flag and then left, because I'm pretty sure Ukraine was not there anymore when they filmed that video. So I'm pretty sure they could just pick up the flag and move it 50 meters if they wanted to. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the flag. In the video, here I'll see if I can show it here because I'm not entirely sure I can. Yeah, I can. Okay, so this is the video. I think this is the flag. So as the drone flies in, it oddly cuts. The video feed stopped. I wonder why. And then it's going wacky, right? It's black, and then it comes back, and I think that's the flag. I really think that's the flag, but I'm not entirely positive. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. And then the drone explodes right after this, and I'm gonna shut up. But anyways, if you want to look at it yourself, you can go to November 19th, click this little dot, and then click that, and then you can watch the video. Okay, so you can tell me your opinion. Do you think it's the flag, or do you think it's just pixels? And thank you, Brett. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Now, getting back to there's one last topic that I wanted to talk about. There is this ongoing assault on Sinkivka. Yesterday, Russia lost. Why is this so hard to see? Anyway, Russia lost 3 BMP-2s in this assault that in a video that came out yesterday. I don't know when the assault actually was, but they lost 3 BMP-2s right here. They had infantry attacking, the infantry as attacking the Russians as they assaulted. So Ukraine was in this house. The Russians were assaulting it. In the video, I'm not sure a single Russian survived. I don't know, Gick. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think that the video today shows some of the new units may be coming to them. And I don't think many of them survived either.
Yeah, I don't think any Russian survived this attack. There were piles and piles of bodies. Like, it was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, Sinkivka is currently under significant assault. That's more or less all the news I got, to be honest. There's kind of 4 things going on in Ukraine right now, or on the front anyway. There's the attack in Sinkivka, which Russia really desperately wants to capture Sinkivka. There's the ongoing fighting around Klashivka, where Russia is trying to flank the north of Klashivka. I don't know of any significant changes over the past 2 days, but they're trying to go around Klashivka. There's the fighting in Avdiivka, near Stepova, and in the industrial area / residential area now. And there's the fighting in Novomykolaivka, and then also the fighting in Rabatina / Marinka. I don't know if Marinka is terribly interesting at this point, to be honest. There were some reports today in Marinka, which I found interesting, that the report was, and you have to take this all with a grain of salt, because if you look at the map, you see that this really doesn't make sense. So we have to try to make sense of this. But anyways, he said that Russia made a determined effort to attack Kharkivka, and that they were the entire column of vehicles was completely destroyed by artillery. That's what he was claiming. He said that he had never seen artillery work as efficiently as they did on this column, and he's very proud of it. Now, I don't really know what to make of that, because first off, there's actually no way for them to attack this town. So I don't know if he was talking about them moving up like this highway, maybe. Maybe he was talking about them attacking these kind of dachas. Maybe he was talking about them attacking kind of these houses. Maybe they were kind of trying to wrap around like this northern part. I have no idea. I don't know how to interpret that, other than to say, he is an officer in this area, and he's very proud of the way the artillery performed today. And this guy is a real doomer. Let me tell you, he's not a positive person. So him praising people it really says a lot, because usually he's like, everything's terrible. So him being happy it's really saying a lot. Or maybe he just is like us, or like me. What do you think, Gig? Have his standards just dropped so far that even the slightest positivity feels great? He's like, we destroyed one vehicle. It's the best day of my life. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if this was a good stream or a bad stream, but I tried. The technical difficulties were not helping. I don't know what those issues were. I don't know if it's resolved or if it's still broken. I have no idea. But yeah, I don't want to doom. Like, dooming isn't fun. It's not happy. I remain very positive on the outlook of Ukraine. If they had ammo, they need ammo. The issue, and the thing is that Europe has the ability to provide ammo in a period of time. Like, Europe actually has an obscene ability to produce ammo. Europe can make way more ammo than I think people understand. I think the numbers on European production, they aren't really classified, but they're not talked about. And if you understand how the machines work, like if you work in a similar industry and you know, like this machine can do this much work in a day, and they have this many machines. If you had that kind of base knowledge and you looked at the stats that are publicly available for the European production, you would know that Europe can produce an obscene amount of ammo, like really gigantic quantities. But that fact is hidden from people because they don't explicitly state it, and most people don't have that knowledge. But they can make ammo. It doesn't come immediately. Okay, so Europe can get ammo to Ukraine in enormous quantities in the future. But the problem is that Ukraine needs the ammo right now, and the group that can do that is the United States. And the United States is just not doing it. It's really frustrating. Because Europe will get ammo to Ukraine. I guarantee you, Europe will supply Ukraine. I think in a year or so, Ukraine will not have an ammo problem anymore. I think Europe can probably make more ammo than Russia can, to be honest. I'm not 100% on that, but I think they can.
Yeah, sorry, it was a very bad moment. My mouth was still full with pizza.
Yeah.
We will find out.
Right. So, what about Russia? I think Russia, I don't know how much ammo Russia can make, really. I've heard that they can make around 3 million rounds, But I've also heard that that's an overestimate. I don't know. I think if Russia can make 3 million rounds, then I think Europe can outproduce Russia. Russia would need to make more than 3 million to, although Russia doesn't necessarily need to make all their ammo because they're buying some from Korea. So if I don't know how much ammo North Korea can provide. I also don't really know if North Korean ammo is like a 1-to-1 replacement for Russian ammo. It might be more like maybe a 3-to-1 replacement. Like maybe you need 3 North Korean rounds to equal 1 Russian round, because they do seem to have a high dud rate and lower quality propellant, and both of those things combined mean that they're less accurate and less likely to blow up. So that's an issue. So I don't think it's a 1-to-1 replacement. I think you need a lot more Korean ammo to equal the Russian ammo. And Russian ammo is vastly inferior to the European ammo. Yep. Yeah. I guess it comes down to barrels. How many barrels you can produce. Anyways, I think that's the stream. Thank you for everyone who came. It's not it's crazy because like the stream is like an hour long, even though there's like a technical difficulties break in the middle. So we're making them shorter. Hooray! The North Korean having a 20% failure rate. I've heard it's a lot higher than 20%, but honestly I don't know. I don't have stats. I've heard it's more like 30% though. South news. The only news in the South is that Russians were hit in these spots. They lost BMD2. Did I put the same picture in both? I need to fix that. Anyway, they put a picture. They lost a BMD2, a BMD4, and they were getting hit by a drone attacks here. This is all north of Verbova and west of Novopokrovka. So in this whole area here, Russia is advancing more or less. And yep.
Go back in time, because I feel like we did make some losses before, which I reported to Lost War, but I think they only entered now. But I feel like it was there.
Okay. Well, I have this new tool, right?
Andrew, can you go back in time on those
Go
BMDs?
away.
Because
Okay.
I feel like
So
we
I have
did
this new ability
geolocate some
to
losses
draw
there before,
all
which
Russian losses
I reported to Lost
simultaneously.
War, but I think they only entered them now. But I feel like it was there.
And let's go look. Okay, where was it? Where am I? I'm lost.
It's a bit north of.
Okay, so it's here.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
so
didn't
no. These are all the losses though. And also keep in mind this is just from July. These are all the Russian losses since July. It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
A bit north of Verbove. Oh, okay. So
A
we
lot of
didn't enter
losses
them.
since July. Yeah, you can really kind of zoom in on the chaos of like the Avdiivka attack. I mean, I wish that I could easily fill in before July because we have data from before July. It's just it's not easily added to this. Yes, I cannot put both on at the same time without crashing my computer. But these are the Ukrainian losses.
Can you try to check the relative success basically of the Ukrainian counteroffensive around Robatne Avdiivka compared to
Do you also have the Ukrainian losses?
when you especially when you compare basically
And-
the gains that you already made.
Can you maybe
I
try to
I
check
am
the
pretty sure
relative
Ukraine had
success
fewer
basically
losses
of the
per
Ukrainian
kilometer,
counteroffensive around Robatne
at least with vehicles.
and Staromilnivka compared to the current Russian losses
Can you also
around
explain what you're doing?
Avdiivka?
Because people
When you especially when you compare
I
basically
don't know if they
the
can hear you or
gains that
not.
each party made.
But this is these are the Ukrainian losses in the Robatana area. So this is since July, so it's basically it's not actually all of the
I
offensive
think you need to explain what you're
because the
doing
offensive
because
started
people
in June. But
probably can't hear me, right?
But yeah, this is a lot of the offensive, and then we can, yeah, they can hear you. They can hear you now. Okay. Yeah, and then we can compare it to the Russian losses in Avdiivka, which are significant. Yeah, it's wild. I've not counted
Yay! I'm
not
back.
counted anything yet. I think they're up to 200 now. Yeah, I believe they recounted recently, and it's up to 200.
Didn't Tachigami
And
have
this is
something like 130 losses
Klashivka
just around
Bakhmut area.
Krasnohorivka already?
Russian losses in Klashivka were so absurd. Like this might crash my computer, but I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save first and risk it. Okay, so compare the Ukrainian losses in this offensive to the Russian. It's absurd. It really is so lopsided. Which is wild. So they can hear you. It's just that they hear you apparently a minute after you talk, which is bizarre. I don't know, man.
so that's why they were saying that I'm talking over you. It's basically the root gig version.
Yeah. This is crinky.
It's all BTRs.
Yeah, and yeah, it's all it's BTRs and sometimes
So that's why they were
SUVs.
saying that I'm talking over you. It's basically
Well,
the root
there's a
gig
few.
version, which they can hear.
The amount that
Oh.
counteroffensive by the Russians, it's mind-blowing. Don't they?
It's all BTRs.
I mean, the BTR is supposed to be one of their best vehicles.
Oh, and at least one T90. I think.
Yeah, so they lost
Yeah.
the T-72.
But the amount of BTRs
T90M.
used in that counteroffensive by the
They
Russians,
lost a
it's
TOS
mind-blowing.
somewhere. Over
Don't they
here.
have anything better?
There's so many BTRDs. They don't even have that many BMDs to begin
Well,
with.
it's not
And they've
performing
lost
that
so many
great.
BMDs here too.
By the way, I think one of the units fighting here on the Russian side is the 810s. I think they were defending Robotnik.
Okay. That's yep. They seem to their goal appears to be to drive vehicles
By the way,
into drones.
I think one of the units fighting
role.
here on the Russian
Like,
side is
what do
the
you do?
810s.
What's your job in the
I
military?
think
My
they
job
were
is to
defending
drive into
Robotnik
drones.
before.
So,
You know, some countries use electronic warfare. Russia just uses their vehicles.
there's so many vehicles that we've geolocated. It's so many. Like like you look at it, it's just like it's ridiculous how many there are. I don't think this is a sustainable type of
Some
war
countries
for
use
Russia.
electronic warfare.
Like, I
Russia
don't know,
just
guys.
uses
Like,
their
do you think
vehicles.
they
It's
could
great.
lose this many vehicles every 5 months? Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna stop the stream. Thank you everybody for coming and listening. Hopefully next time we won't have this technical problem. Maybe I just need to like restart my computer or something. I don't know, dude. Anyway, goodbye.